Hey USA, it's just me, and as you know, I'm nobody, just an American, and this is just an American moment. This is the podcast where we ask the questions the mainstream media won't ask, and we provide the answers and solutions that the political class either can't or won't. So it's July 5th, day after the 4th of July, my absolute most favorite holiday of the year. I hope you all had a great one with friends and families and fireworks and the 16 cents you saved on your 4th of July barbecue. I'm sure it was all worthwhile. Uh, you know, the 4th of July really is my favorite holiday. It just symbolizes everything to me. I mean, we're a nation that's 245 years old as of yesterday. And that means something because if you look at our history, we are not the perfect nation, but we are an exceptional nation. We are a nation that has done some wrongs, but we have done so many rights. And where we've done wrongs, we've corrected them. There are those out there who would not have you believe that. They want you to believe that the sins of the past carry into the future, when in point of fact, most of the people affected by the sins of the past are long dead. There's not an America today who can use history as an excuse for their lack of success. You know, one of the things that really struck me about this year's 4th of July is some of the negative comments that are out there. So I just want to clear the air for everybody who's paying attention. First of all, we are one America. If you think we're anything else, you're wrong, and you probably have no understanding of history, no understanding of this country, no understanding of the people who gave their blood so that you could say and do the things that you do today. So we are one nation, we are one people. We're not lots of little nations, we're one nation. We have one government, you know, a government by and for the people. Now, it doesn't seem like that sometimes, and God knows we all get pretty ticked off of the people who claim to represent us. That's partly our problem because we've allowed for the emergence of a political class when that was never the real intention of the founders of this country. Nevertheless, it's what we have in place, and if you want to change it, read my book. Read about term limits. Read about the things we can do to set the path straight. Okay. The other thing is we have one American flag. We don't have multicolored flags. We don't have black and white flags. We have red, white, and blue that represents all of us, not one group within us, all of us. It's what brings us together. E pluribus unum, out of many, one. Okay, we have one national anthem. We don't have ethnic national anthems. Anyone who claims that is seriously misguided and doesn't understand what the whole purpose of this country is. There is one national anthem. That is the only national anthem that should be sung at events or in any representation of this nation. And then another matter, which I talk about again in my book extensively, is we really have one language in this country, and that's the English language. And that's something to spend a few moments and just chat about a little bit. Because, you know, back, 100 years ago, maybe a little more, maybe a little less at this point in time, one of the dominant minority groups in this country were Italian Americans, you know, now known as Americans. There are still, in terms of sheer numbers, a vast population of Italian Americans in this country. So, why didn't we make Italian the second language of this country? You know, we could be like the Canadians and we could have two languages as the preeminent languages, French and English. But all you got to do is look at Canada closely, and you see just how bad that is. You know, I laugh because as someone who has lived and worked all over the world, you may love the British, you may hate the British, but there is one thing that the British did for us. They gave us a common language, the English language. And almost anywhere in the world you go, the language of business is English. It's not Spanish, it's not French, it's not Mandarin, it's not any other language. It's English. Even in Latin America, for the most part, in the past and really up till now, most business is conducted in English. You want to take a company public, for example, in Italy, you want to go out on the Nuovo Mercato, you're going to have to write your documents in both Italian and English. Why? Because English is the language of the world. And why would you want two languages in your country as the primary languages? It's discriminatory, especially in a country like the United States, because we have people from all over the world in this country, all over the world. One could make the argument that maybe in California, or certainly in parts of California, the primary language ought to be Mandarin or Cantonese, or maybe Vietnamese, or maybe Tagalog, because there's a very high population of individuals from those nations and descendants of individuals from those nations. But we don't do that. Why is there this big demand that we have Spanish now as kind of the second language of this country? Doesn't that discriminate against people who are non-Spanish speaking? In point of fact, this is what the new discrimination is going to be. And people who are naive enough not to believe this are very foolish. It's going to be language. We're already seeing it in parts of the country. Certain parts of the country, you apply for the job, it says English and must be fluent in Spanish. Well, many of us didn't choose Spanish when they were in school as their second language. We chose French, or we chose German, or at the university level, we chose Chinese or Japanese, because all of those languages are important. In point of fact, Spanish on the list of importance as languages goes really is secondary to certainly some of the Asian languages, and even to an extent French. So why would we want everyone in this country to suddenly speak Spanish? Why do we label everything with two labels at an added expense? It makes no sense. But it does if you understand that people want to divide this country. You know, it's so funny because some of the liberal politicians who are fighting for Spanish as a second language don't even speak Spanish. You know, they're pandering, which is what they always do. You know, and what does that lead us to? Well, it leads us to a topic that I'll kind of finish on today, or phase into my last topic, is a better way to put it, is the whole idea of diversity versus division. The reality in this country is that what you hear the left constantly calling for is not a united America, a one America. They're talking for a divided America. Diversity, we've been a diverse country from our inception. We've had people coming from all over the world, first predominantly from Europe, people from Latin America, Asian peoples inhabited the West Coast for a long, long time. We have our indigenous people. We are about as diverse a country as you can get. And the whole idea of E pluribus unum is to bring us all together as one people. But we have people who don't want to honor that diversity. What they want to do is divide us. They want to do what Hamilton and Madison both feared most when they wrote the Federalist Papers, is a nation divided into factions. Because factions will ultimately destroy one another, and they will destroy this country from within. There is a big difference between diversity and division. Look at those politicians who choose to divide versus those who respect diversity. I will venture to say that most people in the middle, most people on the right, love diversity. They do it in everything. They love it in their music. They love it in the foods they eat. They love it in the company they keep, the friends they have. That's diversity. But they come together as one America. When you look at our military is a diverse population, all ethnic backgrounds, all religious backgrounds, all of those things. But you know what? When they jump in a foxhole together or get in a submarine together or jump in a tank together, guess what? They're one unit. E pluribus unum. We've lost that. And I talk about this a little bit in my book as it relates to Black America. Black America, you've been sold a bill of goods. You've been sold the lie that you've been oppressed and put down and that you don't resemble what America is supposed to be. On the contrary, think about it for a minute. Do you think all the blacks who came from Africa to the United States were the same people? Spoke the same language? Believed in the same gods? No, they were a diverse population. People were put on slave ships who spoke different dialects, were different from different regions, from different tribes. They were sold into slavery mostly by other black tribes in Africa and Arab traders. They were transported by both the Portuguese and the British. But you know what happens? They got to the American shores, and guess what? They ended up becoming one people because they had to overcome their dialect and their language differences. They had to overcome their religious and belief systems to become one people. And that's a hell of a heritage. But you won't hear anybody on the left ever talk about blacks that way. No, they won't. They won't talk about the successes of black people. They only talk about the oppression of black people. That's a myth. It's a myth. Yes, was there a period of slavery? There's been slavery in the world forever. My ancestors on my Greek side were slaves. Some of my Irish relatives were oppressed by the British. Come on. That's something that existed. But we are one America, and we are one American people. But there are those out there who would like to destroy or recreate, or their great new word, reimagine America. You see, there's a big difference, folks, between patriotism and internationalism. Patriots know that this country is exceptional. The internationalists, the John Kerrys of the world and Joe Bidens of the world and others, they want to believe, oh, our arms are open to everybody. They want us to play second fiddle to the other nations of the world, to kowtow to them. Well, we're a great nation. Look at those nations. Study them deeply. Look at how failed they are. I don't care whether they're in Latin America, Europe, Africa, whatever. No one has achieved the success of the United States of America. No one. And if you are a patriot, a true American patriot, you believe what I first said in this podcast. We are one people, the American people. We have one flag, the American flag. We have one national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. And we are one country. I hope you'll think about that as we go past the 4th of July and move forward. And think about the people who are dividing us and the people who believe in diversity. There's a huge difference. With that, I'd like to end today's podcast with a quote from my other book, Dodging Bullets, Shooting Back, Surviving on the Corporate Battlefield. This is a quote by Sun Tzu, and it says, know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 100 battles without disaster. Have a great day.